Right now, your pupils are dilating. You did not decide that. You cannot stop it. And the person sitting across from you is reading it. Every second of every conversation you have ever had, your body has been broadcasting a signal you never agreed to send. Your hands, your posture, your breathing rate, the direction your feet are pointing, the speed at which you blink. None of it is random. All of it means something. And almost none of it is under your control. Scientists call this nonverbal communication, but that term is too clean, too polite. What is actually happening is closer to surveillance. Your body is leaking your internal state, whether you want it to or not. And the people around you have been reading that leak their entire lives without knowing it. Here is what makes this remarkable. The system is ancient, far older than language, far older than words. When your ancestors stood on the savannah 2 million years ago, they could not speak to each other in sentences, but they could read each other's bodies with extraordinary precision. That person's muscles just tensed. Something scared them. That person's pupils just widened. They want something. That person's posture just dropped. They are submitting. Language came later. The body never stopped talking. Let us start with the eyes. Your pupils respond to light. Everyone knows that. What most people do not know is that your pupils also respond to interest, attraction, cognitive load, and emotional arousal. When you find something interesting, your pupils expand. When you look at someone you are attracted to, your pupils expand. When you are solving a difficult problem, your pupils expand. In a 1960 study, psychologist Eckhard Hess at the University of Chicago showed participants 2 photographs of the same woman. The photographs were identical, except for one detail. In one image, her pupils had been retouched to appear larger. Participants consistently rated the large pupil version as more attractive, warmer, and more appealing. Almost none of them could identify why. They were reading a biological signal that said, "She is interested in you," and they responded to it without conscious awareness. Now consider the face. In the 1960s and 1970s, psychologist Pauul Ekmann at the University of California, San Francisco conducted a series of studies that would reshape how we understand human emotion. He traveled to Papua New Guinea to study the Four People, a tribe with almost no contact with Western culture, and showed them photographs of emotional facial expressions from Western subjects. The Four People identified anger, fear, disgust, happiness, sadness, and surprise with near-perfect accuracy. They had never seen a Western face. They had never been exposed to Western media, Western culture, or Western emotional conventions. And yet the expressions were immediately readable. Ekman concluded that 6 basic emotions produce universal facial expressions, identical across all human cultures, all human languages, all human histories. These expressions were not learned. They were inherited, built into the face before birth. But here's the part that should change how you see every conversation you have ever had. Ekman also discovered microexpressions, involuntary facial movements lasting between 1/25th and 1/5 of a second. Too fast to be consciously controlled, too fast to be consciously observed, but not too fast for the human brain to detect and process. When someone is hiding an emotion, suppressing it, masking it, trying to appear neutral, the true emotion leaks through in a microexpression before the mask is in place. A flash of contempt, a flicker of fear, a moment of disgust that disappears before the smile arrives. You have been seeing these your entire life. You just did not know what they were called. Your body also speaks through posture and movement in ways that are harder to fake and easier to read than most people realize. In 1967, psychologist Albert Mehrabian at UCLA published findings suggesting that in emotional communication, the words themselves account for only 7% of the message received. 38% comes from tone of voice. 55% comes from body language. That study has been debated and refined since then. But the core finding has held across decades of research. In face-to-face communication, the body carries more information than the words. Your shoulders Tell the person across from you whether you feel safe or threatened. Your feet, which most people never consciously control, point toward whatever or whoever you are most interested in or most want to escape from. Foot direction is one of the most reliable nonverbal signals precisely because almost nobody monitors their feet. There is another layer that most people have never heard of: mirror neurons. In the 1990s, neuroscientist Giacomo Rizzolatti at the University of Parma made an accidental discovery while studying motor neurons in macaque monkeys. He found that certain neurons fired not only when the monkey performed an action, but when the monkey watched someone else perform the same action. The neuron did not distinguish between doing and watching. This neural system, which humans possess in a far more sophisticated form, is the biological basis for empathy. When you watch someone in pain, neurons associated with pain activate in your own brain. When you watch someone smile, the motor neurons for smiling activate in your face, even if the smile never reaches the surface. Your body is not just sending signals, it is receiving them. And it is responding to them at a level below conscious thought. This is why laughter is contagious. This is why yawning spreads across a room. This is why sitting with someone who is anxious makes you anxious, and sitting with someone who is calm makes you calmer. You are not choosing to absorb these states. You are built to absorb them. And here is the part that should make you sit very still for a moment. All of this is happening right now, in this conversation, in every conversation. Your body is broadcasting your real emotional state. The person across from you is reading it. Their body is broadcasting their real emotional state. You are reading it. Neither of you agreed to this exchange. Neither of you can opt out of it. The signal is always transmitting. The receiver is always on. What does this mean for how we understand human connection? Psychologist John Gottman at the University of Washington spent decades studying couples and their nonverbal behavior during disagreements. By analyzing microexpressions, physiological responses, and body language patterns during a single 15-minute conversation, Gottman could predict with 94% accuracy whether a couple would divorce within a few years. 94%. From 15 minutes of watching bodies talk. Not the words, the bodies. Here is the reframe. You have never had a conversation using only words. Not once in your life. Every interaction you have ever had with another human being has been a simultaneous broadcast on two channels. The words you chose and the body you could not control. The words told people what you wanted them to know. The body told them what was actually true. And the most remarkable thing? They believed the body. They always do.